Okay everyone, last time we have discussed about diode and its internal structure. We have seen how it is actually, and we have tried to imagine n-type and p-type and all the donor atoms and all, and then we have tried to understand how did the depletion region actually formed and why it is known as potential barrier. I think this point is also clear, like silicon, why it needs 0.7 volts of energy to force the electrons from this side to this side, and why germanium need only 0.3 volts to force from this side to this side. Now let us come back to the outside and let us just simply try to understand why do we use diode in the first place. Why do we need those and how? And we already have discussed that diode is something which is telling us about two electrodes. Its schematic symbol is something like this. Okay, this is anode and this is cathode. This is indicating p-type and this is indicating n-type. Okay, so p-type, whatever that is connected to p-type is nothing but anode, and whatever that is connected to cathode is nothing but n-type. So in this symbol, this arrow mark, the arrowhead, indicates the direction. Okay, what is that direction? That direction is hole current within the crystal of the semiconductor, and outside the semiconductor or in the wires and electrodes and all the circuit, there are no holes because they are conductors. Those are not semiconductors. So this indicates conventional current. So if conventional current is from left to right, that means electron current will flow from right to left. Okay, so whole current flows from anode to cathode through the diode, not like this. So this becomes electron direction and this becomes hole direction. Fine. A diode is a unidirectional device. What is unidirectional device? An element or a component which allows current to flow through only in one direction. You can simply imagine a pipe, and let's say that there are these mounted within the pipe. Now if we think of a lever which is something like this, okay, it is attached to this, so this whole thing is strongly attached here, but this is something which is making a contact, so something like this. So now if the water is flowing in the pipe in this direction, if water is flowing in this direction, this will move. So this will come, because the force is applied in this direction, this will move in this direction, and then it opens the valve and water flows to the other side of the pipe, okay, or other side of this valve. Now if I take the same valve and let's say water are coming in this direction. Now will this block allow this to move further? No, it will not allow. When does the water come from this side to this side? Only if this breaks. Okay, only if this particular obstruction, whatever is in between, if this breaks, then only the whole water rushes through this. That's the only possible condition where the water comes from right to left of the pipe. So this is something which is acting like a diode. So this is simple analogy that you can relate to the diode, how it works and all. So wherever we have applications that current should flow only in this direction, not in the other opposite direction, there we go with diodes. So what are those applications? In module 3 we have discussed that we have AC current. AC means alternating current, which flows in this direction as well as in this direction. So in this case, if I place a diode, then this will make sure that the current flows only in one direction and it will block all the current that which is coming in another direction. That is one application of diode. And the other application is whenever it is used as switch. How it is acting like a switch, I'll explain. Now again, wherever we need a current in unidirection there, and it is used as some detector in communication, means to detect the signal. Whenever we get some signal, it switches on, something like that. It is used as a detector also. And there are different types of diodes where it is used as a regulator, where it is used as light emitting diodes are also diodes which emits light. And light activated means light detectors which gets activated only if light is falling on that particular diode. Like that, we have various applications using diodes. Diodes are used in many cases. And we also have power diodes. So this process is known as rectification. If all the applications are going with high voltages and high currents, okay, then those are coming under power diodes, which are also known as industrial, which are mostly used in industrial applications. Okay, this is a rough outline about diode. Now coming to its function, how it opens and how it closes, that you need to have some idea. So let's say this is a diode. So this band is indicating that this terminal is cathode and this electrode is anode. Now if I connect a positive of the battery to this and negative of the battery to this, so positive connected to anode, negative connected to cathode, this is something which is indicating forward bias. Forward bias. Bias is nothing but influencing the charge carriers inside semiconductor in such a way that the current is flown. So normally the conventional current flows in this direction, electron current flows in this direction. That is what is happening in forward bias. And here if I connect diode, same this is forward. If I reverse the connections, then it becomes reverse bias. In reverse bias, it acts like this. It completely blocks the current flow. It does not allow any current to flow through. No current in reverse bias. In forward bias, current flows. So in forward bias, it is acting like on switch. In reverse bias, it is acting like off switch. Okay, if I want to use this diode as a switch, I simply make sure that I make it forward biased. And if I want it to switch off, then if I don't want any current to flow through in the circuit, then I simply make it reverse biased. That is how the diode is operated usually. Now we have to discuss how it behaves inside the diode using all those electrons, holes and all. So let us start that. Now I want you all to keep this in mind, that there are many atoms which we are not able to see, and this as well. Then later on we have focused only on impurity atoms and free electrons and holes, and how this electric field is created. That means depletion region, because of which electric field created, which is stopping all the electrons from entering into holes on this side, right? So now let me consider this as silicon, which is doped n-type on this side. So all these blue dots are free electrons and p-type on this side. All these pink circles are holes, and here we have conductors which are connected. This is some rough diagram, so try to imagine it in your own way and ignore all the background noises. Let's focus on what is going on here. Now all these electrons have high concentration over here and over here, so you should get a doubt that these electrons should come and fill in these holes, right? But here I am not indicating how many precautions are taken. There are some contacting methods, like some different materials which are used to connect the actual conductor electrode with the semiconductor. So whatever we have seen a crystal inside the diode that day, that crystal will get contacted with different type of material which will take care of all the diffusion and all sorts of different concentration gradients which we are seeing here. So we have to neglect all those factors, or else we will definitely get a doubt. See, here there are many electrons, here there are less electrons, these electrons should come this side, or here there are many electrons, here there are holes, these electrons should come and fill in these holes. So such things are taken care of using different materials and different contacting types. Fine. This is some battery with negative terminal connected to n-type and positive terminal connected to p-type, and within this battery can be anything, or this source can be anything. The thing is, this is negative and this is positive. Fine. So the diagram is like this. So this is said to be in forward bias. Now I said that in forward bias it acts like a on switch. How it is acting like on switch, how electrons are flowing, and all those are discussed here now. So this is depletion region, this is N type and this is P type. Clear with this whole diagram? Now, what happens as soon as you connect a battery? What happens as soon as you close this whole circuit? The electrons are getting repelled by this voltage, whatever that we have applied. So I want you to focus on another thing. Let's say this is some voltage, this is current ID, current flowing through diode, voltage drop across diode, VD, something like that. So we are focusing on what is happening here, and we are focusing how much voltage is dropping across these two terminals. Let's say that there are some other elements. Let's say that there is a resistor here. So if there is a resistor here, then it will obstruct the flow of electrons. But anyway, we will have electrons here, but it will be slower and the voltage gets reduced. Everything is taken care of. Simply let us ignore this and let us try to understand what is going on within this block of semiconductor. Right? Now, this depletion region is acting like a barrier, and all these electrons are getting repelled by this negative terminal. So electrons are moving same like houseflies, which are rushing towards this side. Now these are electrons and these are also electrons. So once these electrons try to enter into this region, because of the force applied by the battery, these electrons repel these electrons which are here. So the repulsion forces increases and these electrons gain more energy. So they need only 0.7 volts because it is silicon to wake the satisfied atoms which are in this region. So if you consider that electrons are coming up here and they are energizing or forcing or repelling these electrons to move in this direction, whatever electrons went and sit in here and satisfied all these atoms here, all those atoms will be hitted by the electrons because they are coming with force. So that force is transferred onto this, and whatever electron that is sitting inside the hole will move further, and then the electron starts to enter into all the holes. That is what is happening in this case. So all these electrons gain enough energy to go through the silicon once the voltage is nearing 0.7 volts. So starting, let's say we have given 0 volts, no change, it will remain the way it is, and as you increase it from 0.2, 0.3 volts, 0.5 volts, 0.6 volts, here 0.5, 0.6, it starts to push those electrons which are already sitting inside these holes which are satisfied. They are getting waked up and they are getting vibrated by the energy provided. Now these electrons will enter into this when it is in this region, when we apply 0.6 to 0.7 volts across this diode. Okay, now as you move to 1 volt, 2 volt, 5 volt, what happens? The energy with which these electrons move increases, and they move freely, like just like water moving within the conductor. So like that, this is acting like a switch. Once you give 0.7 volts, it completely becomes a conductive path, right? Though the resistance is somewhat high, though the voltage drop across it is 0.7. See, it needs only 0.7 volts. Simply 0.7 volts is getting consumed across the diode. No matter you give 1 volt, 2 volt, 5 volt, 10 volts, 25 volts, no matter how many volts you give to the diode, it only requires 0.7 volts, because because this valve requires only that much energy to bend, so open. So here also the same case. This depletion region, only 0.7 volts is enough to to wake up all the electrons which are sleeping in this depletion region, something like that. I think you got the point. When electrons are moving in this direction, so all these electrons are getting attracted by the positive terminal. That is how electrons move here. So electron move in this direction, and in this direction through the silicon. How does the holes move within this semiconductor? Here, when electron is coming and entering into the hole, one more hole will try to get attracted towards this side. So hole movement is always opposite to that of the electron movement. When an electron comes and enters into another hole that is present here, a hole is getting created here, which is getting filled by another nearby electron. So as electron is moving this side, a hole is moving this side. Now hole is getting created here. Again one more electron will come and enter into this, and a hole will be getting created here. So inside the semiconductor, holes are also playing a role, but here holes, the thing that you have to remember is holes are moving in this direction from p type to n type. Electrons are moving from n type to p type. That is what you have to focus on. That is how the holes move. Okay, here holes move from anode to cathode, which is nothing but conventional current, and electrons move from cathode to anode. Clear? So this is cathode and this is anode. This is what is happening in forward bias. And what about these minority charge carriers which are here? Does it make any difference? They get attracted, or these electrons come and fill into these. So these minority charge carriers also will participate in the current process, and on the whole some current flows. So if you observe how the diode behaves, so what is if I take a graph and apply slowly 0 volts, then 10, 20 volts. As I apply from 0, it starts, let's say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that. At 0.7, the diode starts to conduct, and then at most it goes to 1.1, something like that. It does not go more than that, and current rises like anything. This is how a diode switches on. The ideal characteristics are it should switch on as soon as you give it some forward bias. So these are ideal characteristics, and these are actual practical diode characteristics when it is in forward bias. No matter you give 50 volts, the drop across the diode will not be more than 1.1 volts or 1.2 volts in practicality. It depends on the diode's construction also. Fine. If I give more than 50, let's say 100 volts, will the diode be able to withstand? Will this piece of semiconductor withstand if I apply like 100 volts? Let's say it is, what is the change that you see? The force with which the electrons move through this particular material is becoming very, very high. That means this piece completely becomes heated up. So as you move from 100 to 150 volts, this becomes even more heated up. So there it reaches thermal runaway, where it cannot withstand the heat and it starts to malfunction. It destroys itself, it gets destroyed or damaged. It won't be a diode. So that is some point which is going into saturation. Means it cannot withstand the amount of energy that is going through this. That is what is happening if you go beyond certain level. Every device, every component has its withstanding ability. How many volts you can give, the maximum voltage, how much maximum current it can withstand. Those are also important factors that you have to take care of. Okay, maximum current, maximum forward current that it can withstand, and maximum temperature it can withstand. What is the room temperature it operates perfectly well in, and what is the temperature that it cannot be used in. All those factors should be taken care of whenever we are using diode or whenever you are trying to select a diode. Okay, now this is all about forward bias. Let us get into reverse bias. So here also it is a silicon diode, N-type, P-type. So this is anode and this is cathode. So cathode, anode, connected to positive. So this is in reverse bias. In reverse bias, they are saying that it acts like a off. How does it act like off switch? So now this is a positive terminal and this is a negative terminal. All these electrons are rushed or forced into this p-type. So these electrons here are entering into these holes. So holes are also getting attracted towards this hole is also getting attracted towards this hole is also getting attracted. All the holes are also getting attracted towards this, and all the electrons are entering into the holes, satisfying those. So once these electrons come and enter into these holes, they get neutralized. So are there any charge carriers here? No. Fine, that's okay. What about the positive terminal of the battery? The positive terminal of the battery sucks the electrons. So these electrons which are in the conductor are also getting sucked this side, and all the electrons are also getting sucked this side because of this positive. Now once these electrons are getting sucked this side and holes getting sucked this side, are there any charge carriers present in this? No. So that is how this whole region is becoming depleted of the charge carriers. There are no charge carriers. So this whole area is becoming depleted. So when this whole area is becoming depleted, is there any current flowing through in this? No charge carriers in this particular piece. So initially the current may flow till it goes into that depletion region, but it takes very less time. In this case, these minority charge carriers plays the role. So initially you have applied 0 volts, no change, 1 volt, they may be starting to attract all these and depletion region increases. 5 volts, okay, 10 volts, still you are trying to further attract all charge carriers whatever there are inside. So as this happens, as you increase this voltage, what happens is these minority charge carriers which are inside the p-type, in p-type minority charge carriers are electrons, in n-type minority charge carriers are holes. For these holes, this positive is a repelling force, and for these electrons this negative is a repelling force. So these electrons will move towards this side, they are getting repelled and they are also getting repelled. So a very minute current flows through. So electrons move within this piece. Here there may be electrons, or so very minute current flows through, which is carried because of these electrons and holes, minority charge carriers. So as I increase voltage from 5 volts to 10 volts, its force increases, the speed with which they move increases, they are moving through all the atoms. So that force with which they move will create heat. Minority charge carriers are getting created because of heat. So that heat again in turn creates more and more minority charge carriers. Minority charge carrier creation is happening just because of vibration of electrons and coming out of those valence orbits which are already satisfied, right? So as the voltage goes from 25 to 50 like that, the heat increases. As the heat increases, minority charge carriers also increase. So now the minority charge carriers are picking up, they are picking up, and once you reach some point like 100 volts or 150 volts, they go into a tremendous energy level where they go and hit one atom, and that atom gains more energy, releasing few electrons which go and hit all the other atoms which are around it. Again something like one coming and hitting, and this goes and hits. So this goes and hits the other atoms. Like that, some kind of carrier multiplication is happening once it reaches a level of voltage. That voltage is nothing but breakdown voltage. In this breakdown voltage, all the atoms are getting disrupted and destructed. So this whole material itself gets destroyed. So this is nothing but avalanche breakdown. Something like, you can imagine a mountain, a snow mountain. Let's say a small ball or small rock is coming down with force, then all the snow gets sticked to it, and as it rolls and rolls, it becomes big in size and speed also increases. Same thing happens here. So that is why it is named as avalanche breakdown. Once you reach that point, the whole minority charge carriers current and every current flows for a minute time, breaking down the whole structure of the silicon. It burns up and it fumes up and it gets destroyed. Physically you can see it burning when this breakdown happens. That is how the diode behaves in this reverse bias. So this is its maximum withstanding ability for this in reverse bias. Like that, there are many different variations. Same like, so here we have discussed, if I apply more and more pressure on this side, on this particular valve, it breaks up at a particular point. That is nothing but breakdown. So here also same thing is happening. It withstands that there is no current here and very minute current flows. That minute current is nothing but minority leakage current. So that minority leakage current flows, electrons flows from this side to this side. So minority leakage current is in this direction. Okay, actual hole current is in this direction, minority, and the minority direction does not matter. I think you don't have any doubts. If you have any doubt, please ask your doubt and do not hesitate. If we try to understand few points, so here as I apply volts, let's say 10 volts, 20 volts, 30, 25, something like that, as it goes on, is there any current flow? Minority current is very less, which is in the order of microamperes. Here this current is in the order of milliamperes. So this current is 1000 times less than the current which flows in forward. That means if one electron is flowing in minority in reverse bias, 1000 electrons will flow in forward bias. So that is why it is considered as switch on, that is why it is considered as switch off. And that one electron, it is trying to maintain that one electron flow or those very minute current till a breaking point, breakdown point, which is known as avalanche breakdown, and after that it starts to take on and it is known as a breakdown and it burns up. So this is what happens in reverse bias and this is what happens in forward bias. This is nothing but cut-in voltage, and simply this cut-in voltage is something which is maintained across this diode no matter how much voltage. Even if I apply 50 volts, the drop across this is very less, 1.1 volts. So that is why they consider that the diode has less resistance in forward bias and high resistance in reverse bias. Why high resistance? Because whenever you apply reverse bias, this whole region is getting depleted of charge carriers. Are there any charge carriers? If there are no charge carriers, definitely the resistance is very high. So that is why in reverse bias the diode offers high resistance, and in forward bias the diode offers very less resistance. That is how it works, and that is why the diode is used actually. Fine, I hope the whole concept is clear, and if I miss any topics to discuss, let me know.